So, you finally decided to do it. You're leaving Windows, but now you're staring at a brand new problem. Which version of Linux should you even pick? It feels overwhelming, right? You've got hundreds of options and a whole lot of really passionate online debates. But don't worry, in this explainer, we're not going to find the one best version of Linux. We're going to find the one that's the perfect fit for you.
And let's be real, it's not hard to see why you're looking around. You're just done. Done with the buggy updates that break things, the endless pop-ups, the constant nagging to sign in to OneDrive, and oh my gosh, Copilot being jammed into every single corner of the operating system. You've had enough. You are ready for a change.
But then you jump into the world of Linux, and you're greeted with this. Over 600 different versions to choose from. You start seeing names like Ubuntu, Fedora, Arch, Mint, and it seems like every single person online has a different, deeply held opinion about which one is the absolute, undisputed best.
It is a classic case of choice paralysis. With so many options, where do you even start? How do you make sure you pick the one that won't just lead to hours of frustration and command line headaches? Well, that is exactly what we're here to figure out.
Okay, first things first, we need to get one core concept down. All these versions of Linux are actually called distributions, or distros for short. And to make this super simple, we're going to use a fantastic analogy, the egg roll.
So at the very heart of every single one of these operating systems is something called the Linux kernel. You can think of this like the filling in an egg roll. It's the essential core stuff that lets the software talk to your computer's hardware. You know, managing your memory, your CPU. But here's the thing. Filling by itself isn't a complete meal.
And that's where a distro comes in. A distro takes that kernel filling and puts a nice crispy wrapper around it. That wrapper is everything you actually see and interact with. The desktop environment, the default apps, the app store, the whole shebang. It bundles it all together into one delicious, ready-to-eat package.
All right, you get it. Filling, wrapper, egg roll. Got it. So let's get to the actual recommendations. We're going to start with the options for everyone who's fleeing Windows with just one simple request. Please, I just want my computer to work without all the fuss.
Look, if you're watching this and you just want me to tell you what to install so you can get on with your life, here you go. Install Linux Mint. It looks and feels a lot like a classic Windows desktop, it works right out of the box, and its entire guiding philosophy is to just stop bothering you. It's the simplest, most direct path from A to B.
Now, if Linux Mint is that comfortable, familiar, classic workhorse, you can think of Zorn OS as its sleeker, more modern sibling. Zorn's entire mission in life is to create the most polished, premium switching experience possible. It even lets you pick a layout that feels just like modern Windows, or even Mac OS. It's all about that smooth transition.
Okay, next up, let's look at two other absolute giants. On one side, you've got Ubuntu, probably the most popular, most well-known distro on the planet. Its superpower? The community. Seriously, any question you have, any weird problem you run into, it's almost guaranteed someone has already solved it. On the other side is Pop! OS. This one is made by a company that actually builds and sells Linux computers. It gives you a bit more control, but in a really user-friendly way. And this is a huge deal for a lot of people. It has the best out-of-the-box support for NVIDIA graphics cards.
And this quote from the co-founder of the company that makes Pop! OS, it just nails their whole philosophy. They believe that with careful, thoughtful design, you don't have to choose between a powerful computer and an easy-to-use one. You can have both.
So the last recommendation in this beginner-friendly category is Fedora. And this one really strikes a fantastic balance. See, a lot of distros make you choose. Either you get old, super stable software, or you get brand new, cutting-edge software that might be a little buggy. Fedora gives you the best of both worlds. You get all the new, cool Linux tech, but only after it's been properly tested. You get to stay modern without being a beta tester.
All right, those 5 options we just talked about, they're going to be perfect for most people. But what if you're not most people? What if you're a serious gamer? Or what if you're the kind of person who just loves to tinker and customize every single little detail? Well, it's time to level up.
You know, not that long ago, the phrase Linux gaming was kind of a punchline. But today, it is a genuinely fantastic experience. If you own a Steam Deck, surprise, you're already running Linux with SteamOS. For other devices, like a gaming PC or a handheld like the ROG Ally, you've got amazing options like Basia. It gives you this console-like, immutable experience, which basically means the core system is locked down so it's super stable and hard to accidentally break. Perfect for a grab-and-go gaming machine. Then there's Nabara, which is more like a traditional desktop that comes preloaded with every tweak and driver a gamer could possibly want.
Okay, so we've covered users who want it simple and users who want it ready to game. But what about that person who looks at a pre-built operating system and thinks, no, I want to build mine from scratch?
For that person, my friend, there is Arch Linux. And if you have spent even 5 minutes in a Linux community online, you have definitely seen this phrase. It's this long-running meme about how passionate, some might say smug, Arch users can be. But you know what? They've kind of earned it.
So here's the deal you make with Arch. It's a trade-off. The pros are huge. You build your operating system from the ground up, component by component, so it does exactly what you want and absolutely nothing else. You are always on the very latest version of every piece of software, and its documentation, the Arch Wiki, is without a doubt the single best technical resource on the entire internet. The con? Well, you have to do all the building. You had better get comfortable reading documentation, because you're going to be doing a lot of it. It's an incredibly powerful and rewarding path, but it is a path you build yourself.
Whew. Okay, we've just covered a ton of options, and I bet you might be feeling that choice paralysis creeping back in again. But now, I'm going to let you in on the single biggest secret in the entire world of Linux. No, seriously, that's it. That's the secret. For 95% of what most people do, browsing the web, checking email, writing documents, even playing most games on Steam, every single major distro we talked about will get the job done and get it done well. The stress of picking the one perfect distro, it's mostly in your head.
The real differences aren't about capability. They're about philosophy and personal preference. It all comes down to a few simple questions. How often do you want new features? How much hand-holding do you want versus setting things up yourself? And how much do you want to tinker under the hood? It's not about what the OS can do. It's about how you want to experience it.
So, now that we know the pressure is completely off, how do you actually figure out your personal preference without getting lost for weeks? It's easy. Forget about all those complicated decision trees and flowcharts online. Here is a dead simple, actionable plan to find your perfect fit.
This is it. This is your whole journey. Start with Linux Mint. Just install it and use it for a week. If you find yourself thinking, man, I wish this had newer features, great, try Fedora next. If you're a gamer and you want that lockdown console-style setup, try Bassiate. And if, after using these, you start thinking, you know what, I want to build this whole thing myself, then and only then do you know you're ready to try Arch. The beauty of this is there's no wrong answer. You could just try another one.
And if you're still on Windows 10, there's a very practical reason to not overthink this and just get started. The clock is ticking. After October of 2026, Microsoft is cutting off security updates for Windows 10. That means no more patches, leaving your computer vulnerable. Making a choice, literally any choice from the list we discussed, is way better than doing nothing.
So, we've demystified the whole process. We've laid out a simple path forward. You see now that the choice isn't really about finding the one technically superior distro. It's about finding the one that fits you. So the real question isn't which one you should pick. The real question is, what are you going to do with an operating system that finally truly respects your freedom and puts you back in control?